Hey Cameron, all right, let's take a look at it and see I got your email, and I'll reply to that email. But I see that you fixed the issue here, which is great. And so let's take a look at your sketchbook. Overall, these are looking really nice and simple, and that's good. The main thing I'd say is that you could simplify them even more. Like I feel like you're probably focusing a little bit too much on the actual joints and the way the character is connected, and it's less about that and more about the overall gesture, like what that line of action is doing, and what the overall force of that character is doing. So I would base everything around that line of action. So for instance, this lawnmower here, if your character is pushing that lawnmower, maybe getting something like that with the line of action, and then building around there. So you're thinking, okay, this is where head's going to go, and then stick figures for the arms, maybe a little bit of shape for the hand. It doesn't really help that I'm drawing on top of this, but like getting something like that out of it. Maybe this will make it more clear. And then just building like really, really simple around that. Like I don't invest a lot of time in my thumbnail drawings in terms of like the actual drawing itself, like the draftsmanship itself. Like what I really want to focus on is the force of action, the line of action, and the force that my character is going, and how I can exaggerate that. Different things like the staging, how I can change that. What if you go from this line of action to this line of action? That automatically changes the idea of your character, but then you're exploring a different avenue for your character, like what that attitude will do. And this is the whole point of what you're doing now, is that you're exploring options. Like you're just trying to get the most out of your ideas. Like you're just the most that you can on paper. And so take one of these drawings, of the drawing that you pick. You didn't circle it here, but of course I'll see it. Or did you? Did I not see it? But yeah, either way, I'll see which one you chose. But the idea here is that like you can actually take that drawing, the one that you like, and keep making revisions on top of that. So say like this, for a pose like this, the line of action would be something like that, because the direction of the character is going that way. So that said, how does that work? If your character has like a certain pose to what they're doing, that line of action, see if I can draw it in a different color. Like it might seem like because the spine is going in a certain way. Let's see, and is it? That's the other thing. It seems like that sort of pose. I'm drawing. And in that way, I'm getting a little bit more of a dynamic quality out of that with my character. And so, yeah, maybe that line, maybe I misread that line, because that line would be more like that, going up through there, through the spine at least. And so, yeah, that's just how you want to play it, is just thinking about like how that works, and just trying different things. Like, so maybe that line went that way, but what if I tried a different line like this and built very simply around my character, just doing an action that was similar with a different line of action, like that sort of thing is what we want to do when we're exploring our poses. Simple, quick stick figures, but I'm getting that idea across in a simple way. I'm not spending too much time on it. I'm jotting it down. It's just like a quick note that you jot down. And so yeah, that's just what to think about here. Like if you have a drawing you like, keep drawing that same pose, or you have a pose that you like, keep drawing that same pose, 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, as many times as you can before you start. The idea is to start feeling comfortable with it. And so so that's a good way of establishing that. So that said, okay, let's look at what you have here. Going to this pose, is the one you picked. Okay, so this one's a little tricky because you know, that line of action isn't as established here, and what it is like we have to think about the staging of the character and what the overall attitude is. The attitude is there, but like how we're going to get that line and what we're going to do with the overall staging. So here, one thing you'll notice if you go back, you'll see like that there is an overall shape that's happening here. And what we can do with that shape is bring it into that character a little bit more. So like that overall shape was something like that, right, on that drawing. And if we bring that to our character, we're going to get the idea is to try to get a little bit more of an organic quality within our pose. And so I like what the feet are doing here. It's pretty natural. And then this bringing down, so that's a different thing. That's a little tougher. The idea is, let's see, and see, I'm making this really loose. Like I'm not really caring what this is going to look like here, because this is what this would be if I was planning this out. Is I'd be drawing this on a bunch of different poses would be drawn here. So there's that. Keeping maybe those legs don't need to be so far apart here, but what I'm doing here is playing to the camera. So maybe getting a little bit less of a full-on front view and more of a side view here. So I know there's a lot of drawing over stuff here, but you see how like that original shape, it's starting to look a little bit better with how I'm shaping this pose into that original line, right? So a few things, like with the hands, I'm going to go over hands tomorrow, but like with this, it's okay to have this geometry go ahead and intersect with everything. Go ahead and, like, if you're going to make a fist, commit to that entire fist and have the fingers go in, have the thumbs go in, have everything like really, really pressed together. Otherwise, if you keep it too loose, it starts to look a little bit weird, and it's not really getting that. It's kind of creating a noisy pose. And what I mean by that is, like, there's a lot of shapes in here that can kind of be distracting when you can simplify it a lot. I'll go over that tomorrow. And same sort of thing here. Like if it's feeling too flat or anything, we're bringing a quality that feels a little bit unnatural, and so we can simplify that hand pose a lot. Bringing that thumb in. I always say that with this character is just like try to bring that thumb in whenever you can and get it out of the way, and so that way you're going to make some cleaner shapes. But also, like, if you see like this pose that I drew, the spine and the neck and everything, they sort of flow together, and that's what I'm going for. That's what I really want. It's like there's part of it the staging, but a lot of it is just like keeping the body feeling like it's working with together with the rest of the spine is working like in conjunction with what the body is doing. Okay, so overall pretty good stuff. I mean, it's definitely a good start, but I'd say you can loosen up a little bit more, and then once you go into your pose, think about how that line is directing that action and how you're getting that staging. And I'll go over the hands tomorrow. So, all right, good stuff, Cameron. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.